Happy Halloween, everyone. It's Monica here. We're working feverishly to bring you the final episode in our Halloween series. But before we begin, just a disclaimer that this one is about scary movies, horror movies, and thrillers. So if you're sensitive, beware. But as always, we've done our best to make sure it's nothing serious, seriously. And if you like my voice, just consider it an affect of the Halloween season.
All right, Monica. I have yet to have a pumpkin spice latte. I might just push it off to October 31st.
You're allowed to also enjoy them in November if you want to choose that month. It is still fall.
What? No, then I transition into the Christmas.
We're not saying that word in our October special. Just, you know what? I love that too, but just get on out of here, you know?
I'm not ready for Christmas. So we're going to stick with the Halloween theme. We have a great episode lined up for our friends and I think maybe we have some fans. I mean, you would say Zach is a fan of yours, right?
Yeah, I even have a recording of someone who said how awesome we are. So I feel like we have 1 to 10 fans.
Okay, cool. We'll go with that.
Growing.
Definitely growing. Today we're going to talk about movies, Halloween movies, and we have a whole bunch of different categories, everything from movies people get obsessed about to scary movies, kid-friendly movies, Halloween spoofy movies.
I would have to say this is better than watching them all.
Yes, we're going to talk about that too, whether or not we have watched any in the last 10 years. So, Monica, my list of favorite Halloween movies starts with the classic Halloween. It was one of the first ones that I ever watched. And I don't know if you remember how this Monica, started the Scary Movie Week at the Cayo House in college.
I didn't realize that you started that as you were talking about this. I saw the list of different movies that were your favorites. I was like, well, now this makes sense why I ever watched any of those. I was thinking the other day, when did I ever watch Candyman? Oh, yeah, I know. It was in your dorm room.
Yep.
Candyman, you don't have to believe. Just beware.
So, Monica, were you allowed to watch scary movies?
No.
Were you allowed to watch Halloween movies?
I think so. I don't remember being forbidden. I used to watch Mr. Boogedy, which was a Disney special that would come on. So I think maybe during the month of October, they did Mr. Boogedy, and I always watched that, and my mom never turned it off. That's all I really remember movie-wise as a child in association with Halloween. Now, the real question is, now, Mom, cover your ears.
Earmuffs.
Earmuffs, Mom. The real question is, did I watch scary movies?
Right. That is the question.
Yes. Now there's 2. One I won't share because it's so disturbing to me. But there was something that happened in one of them. So almost always these campy movies, there's a slumber party going on. We almost always had a slumber party theme. And this one, there was a madman after these girls, and one of the girls died because the guy took a drill through the outside of the house into the wall where she was sleeping. And my bedroom wall was to the outside of the house. After that, I could never sleep with my head next to the wall ever again, because all I could imagine was a drill just going to come through the wall in the middle of the night and into me.
Oh my God, that sounds horrible.
And still to this day, I do not like to sleep next to a wall with my head or my ear next to a wall.
Had a top 3, what would your top 3 or 4 scary movies or Halloween-y movies be?
I would say that Halloween-y, I would still put The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown.
What a fool I was. Trick or treats come only once a year, and I miss it by sitting in a pumpkin patch with a blockhead. You owe me restitution! You heard about Fury and a Woman Scorned, haven't you? Yes, I guess I have. Well, that's nothing compared to the fury of a woman who has been cheated out of tricks or treats.
And I would probably put some silly Disney ones where they have Mickey Mouse. I watch those with the kids almost every year. And they always do such a good job, like retelling Sleepy Hollow and stuff like that. I think they're fun. But as far as another scary movie that I'd probably watch again is Halloween.
Halloween night.
A small American town. 15 years ago. Michael? Halloween.
Now, Scream, I am obsessed with. I wouldn't necessarily call it a Halloween movie, but I would watch that over and over and over again, even though it is a horror film.
Yeah.
And then Halloween, I would, because I think it's iconic and it's really cool.
It takes place on Halloween. I just love everything about the movie.
Halloween. The night he came home.
I love almost all of the movies in the franchise. I think they're all great.
Oh, wow.
I mean, some more than others.
Of course.
But Halloween H2O.
Halloween H2O.
It's Halloween. I guess everyone's entitled to one good scare. I've had my share.
I thought it was fantastic. And now there's one that I haven't seen. So now I get to make Paul watch it. That's exciting. Well, we've already talked about movies that made me not sleep at night. What's you wish you had never watched it?
One I wished I had never watched.
Mhm.
Now, you are into horror movies, but so was my friend Megan. And she decided one weekend that we totally were going to get into horror movies. And she thought we would watch a really old one by Wes Craven's, actually, from 1972, and called The Last House on the Left.
4 killers on the loose. Also looking for a good time.
And the road leads to nowhere.
They meet in the last house on the left.
Now, it has been remade sometime in the 2000s.
These are 2 lovely girls, Justin.
Bring her back!
You got her. Now what?
I'm still disturbed to this day. That movie gives me the heebie-jeebies. I would honestly not suggest anyone watch it because I feel like garbage in, garbage out. Why see those kind of things?
We have limited time now.
Yeah, we have
in
limited
college,
time.
we had all the time.
So just go read a synopsis of it, but the synopsis of it, like we did on the back of the VHS, right? And I think what disturbed me the most, I would much rather watch something like you made me watch Candyman, because that is supernatural. This was just based on depravity of mankind, which I find much sicker, and I don't like watching it. I wish I had never watched it. I don't think Megan was nearly as upset by it.
Okay, that's fair. Hey, I'm going to read off a quick list of what I consider classic scary movies, and you let me know if you've seen them. Children of the Corn.
Yes.
Psycho.
Yes.
The Birds.
Yes.
Carrie.
Yes.
The Exorcist.
Yes.
The Omen.
Yes.
Night of the Living Dead.
I have not seen that one.
Wow, you've done really well for yourself.
Yeah, well, those are classics, and you know me, I love vintage stuff, so I have seen a lot of what I would consider vintage and classic movies in general.
I remember the last time I saw The Exorcist. It was probably 15 years ago.
Somewhere between science and superstition, there is another world. The world of darkness.
How is anyone afraid of that movie? I'm like, why was this ever frightening to anyone? It's so cheesy. It's so bad.
I know. So that is the one thing. How could something like that ever be frightening to anyone? But you have to think that kind of stuff wasn't seen. That's the first time someone's head spun around, or makeup was that disgusting. And then the pea soup. I just think we're so overexposed in this day and age. It is hard for us to understand the innocence in entertainment.
It's lost.
I have even shown Brady some stuff, and he's like, how could you have been scared by that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, why are you not? It's not like things in the 90s were totally goobery. I mean, I get it if you weren't scared of Gremlins from the 80s, okay?
Yeah.
But some other older movies, he's like, no, yeah, that didn't scare me. I thought, oh, okay. So those classic movies, I think, are missing some iconic horror classics, if you will. But I understand why those are called the classics. They always call all the old stuff, 1970s and before, they always call that the classics. But I like to think of some are iconic. And I'm going to ask you if you've seen any of these. But the first 4, I'm only going to say the villain's name because that's how iconic they are.
Okay.
And all I have to do is say the villain's name. And then I want you to say the movie and if you've seen it.
Okay.
Chucky.
Child's Play. And I've seen most of it.
Michael Myers.
Halloween, and yes.
Jason.
That's Friday the 13th.
Correct.
I've seen most of it.
And Freddy Krueger.
Nightmare on Elm Street 1 through 27. I've seen most of the first movie. So, like I said, my parents wouldn't let me watch these kinds of movies. And my brother and I, when we were tweens, 12, 10 maybe, we would go over to my grandmother's house. And if she was busy doing something, we would flip through the regular TV stations. And like Fox always had a scary movie or a horror movie in the middle of the afternoon, noon or 1 o'clock. And so we'd turn the volume down really low and we'd watch as much as we could until we heard someone coming. Then we'd turn the channel.
Just like you used to do with the soap operas.
Yes, exactly.
Monica, I do have a question about Friday the 13th. You said that you haven't seen it all. I personally will never forget watching it. I forget everything that happened until the final scene, which is actually in one of the top 10 jump scenes for horror movies. Do you remember it, or did you even get that far?
No, I never got that far. Between the commercial breaks and turning the channel anytime someone entered the room. And then by the time I was old enough to actually watch it, other movies had come out. I wasn't interested.
Would you mind if we took a little break here and I have you watch it? And you're so jumpy. I want to be with you when you watch this.
Okay.
I think it's about 2 minutes, maybe. Yeah, because last night I was like, I got to know Monica's reaction when she watches this. And she says she's jumpy.
Here it goes.
Okay, let me know when you start it.
All right, I'm pushing play.
Okay.
It looks lovely.
No, that's his mom. She's very sad.
Are you sure she's not dead?
Well, I wasn't sure.
Okay. I don't know. I mean, it's a beautiful lake.
Mm-hmm.
There's a police car. I mean, it does not look like a good scene because you've got police, you have this lake, you have this woman floating in a canoe.
This is after like everyone's dead and everything, and it's all been.
Oh, okay.
wrapped
She's
up.
not dead. She's not dead.
Yeah,
Got it.
she's
Okay.
sad is the way I remember it.
Okay. This might be the year for me to bring back horror movies. Watch all the ones I used to watch with commercials, without commercials.
There you go. Yep.
She looks very young to be a mother. Ah! Oh, shit! Oh my god!
Maybe it wasn't the mom. It might have been one of the lone survivor.
Well, she's not surviving anymore.
No.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So I screamed and Samson came running over to see what the matter was. What a sweet puppy. All right. Well, friends, I think I've made the executive decision that I am going to force Paul to watch what I want to watch, and it's going to be all scary movies.
Okay, so in the iconic category, just a couple more.
Mm-hmm.
Amityville.
No.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No.
Hellraiser.
No.
Candyman.
Yes.
You haven't seen Hellraiser?
No.
I thought for sure you're the reason I saw that god-awful thing. Okay.
No. I'm not really that big. I only like what I like. I'm not really a big horror movie
Okay.
buff.
I don't know why I saw that. That's probably on Megan. And then I've seen Amityville and I've seen Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I think
which
you're
is-
winning so far. You've seen a lot more than I have. Well, one thing that I do appreciate about Halloween is that you have this range, right? You have the classic, the iconic, the horror, the bloody horror, the thriller horror, but then you also have some cool kid-friendly ones that we haven't mentioned yet, like the Addams Family.
I love that. All of them. Any
Yes,
of them. I love
all of them. Hotel Transylvania, that's one of our absolute family favorites.
This is Hotel Transylvania. All of our monster friends are right here.
I don't say blah, blah, blah. And then there are some movies that aren't supernatural that one in particular I found incredibly disturbing. It's The Strangers.
I remember seeing the preview for that and I love Liv Tyler and I thought, oh, kind of a thriller. I might want to watch that because I can sometimes do a thriller.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, the premise of it was disturbing. So disturbing, I knew I wouldn't be able to watch it. And then you've seen it and you were disturbed by it. So I know I made the right decision.
It took me 3 attempts to get through the entire thing. The true crime lover in me was like, oh, maybe they solved it. I wanted to know how it ended.
No, I think that would be good to explore next month when we do our true crime.
Yeah.
Would be some of the horror films that are actually based off of true events. And it actually reminds me of something that happened in Arkansas. Again, maybe one day I'll do the true crime from Arkansas. Texas Chainsaw Massacre is also another one that's based off a true event.
Okay, let's not spoil
No, I'm
True
just
Crime Month for
yeah.
everybody.
So I'm just saying, next
Okay.
month, learn more about your favorite movies that are based on true crime stories.
Absolutely. 7 with, I think, Brad Pitt, right?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, he's still so hot.
Yes.
I'll watch that just for him. Silence of the Lambs is one of my favorites.
Thank you, Clary. Thank you.
So I've also never seen The Hills Have Eyes.
Haven't either. I put it under Real Killers because it's about cannibals and cannibals are a real thing.
The story of an American family who lost everything except the will to survive. Murdered, raped, burned, but not beaten. The Hills Have Eyes.
You mentioned the Saw franchise, and then one of the horror movies that took the world by storm because it was so different, The Blair Witch Project.
I have never seen that. When it came out, Megan asked me if I wanted to go see it, and I got on some sort of moral high ground about it. Maybe that was my stand to Megan against making me watch that 1972 Wes Craven film.
Maybe you did not want to be traumatized. I do remember seeing it at the theater, and it was creepy to the point I needed to get cash out of the ATM, and I only wanted to go to a drive-up ATM.
It's so funny to me because you kind of make fun of me for being scared of Scream, and I want to make fun of you, well, I've never seen it, for being scared of the Blair Witch Project.
But come on, you couldn't see the people that were tormenting them. It was so creepy weird.
Of course, and that was a brand new style back
Yes.
then, which is pretty cool.
So let's talk about some movies that are supernatural or sci-fi oriented. Poltergeist.
Yes, definitely saw that.
I don't think I've ever seen it. Is that the one with Drew Barrymore?
No, that's Firestarter, but it does have a little blonde girl. She had died later, maybe in her teens. I'm not sure. Actually, a lot of people died off of Poltergeist.
It is the movie I'm thinking of then. Yes. A lot of people died. It's like a cursed movie.
Its form is revealed.
What is it?
Its focus is clear. And the games are over.
How about The Craft?
I saw that. That is creepy. It's like Mean Girls, but with extra demonic spiritual tones.
Yep.
They were the girls who didn't belong.
Whatever you do, stay away from them.
Why?
They're witches.
But after years of being on the outside,
Why'd you lie about me?
I don't want to go out with you again. Please stop begging. It's pathetic.
4 girls are about to discover the dark side.
You ever heard of invoking the spirit? Black magic.
All right, so
I'm having all these flashbacks to all of these scenes I don't want to remember.
I cannot believe how many of these movies you've seen. How about the Final Destination franchise? I thought that was kind of fun.
In death, there are no accidents. No coincidences. And no escapes.
Did it happen again? Did you see Todd die?
What if it was our time? What if we were not meant to get off that plane? What if there is a design that it's not finished?
By walking off the plane, you're cheating death. You have to figure out when it's coming back at you.
That is fun. I didn't watch any of those, even though I feel like I've watched like a lot of summer horror. You know, I would feel like Scream's in that category. I Know What You Did Last Summer. There's a few others. I watched a lot of those back in the day, but I never really got onto the Final Destination franchise.
I was just kind of fascinated. I'm like, you cannot escape death, period, the end. So some of the other fun ones, you've mentioned campy. I need to look up the dictionary.com definition of campy because I'm a little confused.
Yeah, look it up.
It's an adjective of or relating to or characterized by theatrical or extravagant style, expressing playful irreverence or knowing amusement. Okay, yeah. And the origin is from 1930 to 1935. Kind of cool. So here are some campy ones. I will just go ahead and read off my favorites. Shaun of the Dead.
I loved that movie, which is kind of shocking.
Do you ever think that modern life is not for you? Do you do the same dead-end job every day? Is your love life dying on its feet?
To a wonderful mom.
Have you ever felt that you're turning into a zombie? Maybe you're not alone.
The Evil Dead. That's a classic.
I haven't seen
campy
that
movie. Oh, it's really good. Oh, you should watch it because it's just funny and it's silly. And again, zombies, and we don't like zombies, but you can appreciate it because they all die.
Okay. Oh, perfect.
And then another memory that came to my mind was Elvira.
Oh, yes. She was just so iconic in the 80s. When my eldest brother, went to college, his roommate had a giant cutout of Elvira. And Jamie said that every time he'd get up in the middle of the night, he would think there's someone standing over his bed.
Oh my gosh.
But could you imagine going off to your freshman year and your roommate has a cardboard cutout of Elvira?
So some of these other ones I've never seen. I've never seen Cabin in the Woods.
That is with the guy who plays Thor. This was like 10 years ago before he really blew up.
Oh, okay.
It is hilarious. It is super gory at the end, but I'd actually say if you're looking for a good campy film that isn't over the top with gore, it even has a good ending. Then Jennifer's Body, that's campy, but also so awful. That had Megan Fox in it, and she pretended to be a virgin, and she got sacrificed, but she wasn't a virgin.
Jennifer's evil.
I know.
No, I mean, she's actually evil, not high school evil.
Oh my God. So a demon possessed her. It's pretty funny. Then there's Freaky, which just came out in the past couple years. And Zach asked me if I wanted to see it. He showed it to me the other night, and I almost pulled the trigger and said yes. It stars Vince Vaughn, and he's awesome, and I love him in almost everything that he does. But he is a serial killer. And then by some sort of Freaky Friday fate, he switches body with a popular cheerleader in high school.
Honestly, if this was a horror movie, I'd be one of the first ones to get killed.
Cue the creepy dude in the mask.
Like I said. But actually, it turns out
Where am I?
I didn't get killed.
Oh my God, why do I sound like that?
I woke up in the killer's body.
So he has to run around with her friends. It is good. And he's just, his comedic timing's great. And then, Monica, there's one more listed here. And if you could just click on that little link and see the grotesqueness of Night of the Demons. This is another one that had something happen in it, which I won't even say what happened in it out loud.
What?
So I don't want to.
Halloween night.
All right, dudes. And dasses. Let's party!
10 kids. All they want to do is raise a little hell. Now, as long as they live, they'll wonder what's gotten into them.
Look how
Oh my
gross that is.
goodness.
Ew,
That is
so
disgusting. No, I can't. Friends, you're going to have to Google that on your own because I don't even want it anywhere on my page. All
so
right.
I have seen a lot of campy ones. I would say that's probably my thing is the campy.
Campy ones are super fun. But then I also started thinking back to some really weird ones from childhood, like the 80s. And so I did a little bit of Googling, and Sci-Fi Wire has the headline of the article, Laugh Till You Bleed Horror Movie Spoofs. And I like the spoofs. The ones that I started remembering when I read this list, Attack of the Killer Tomatoes.
Across this great nation, almost everyone has been affected in one way or another by this terrible tomato onslaught. Mrs. Williams, I understand your husband is missing.
Yes,
Do you think he's dead?
Well, I
Will you
told-
miss him?
Well,
Will you marry again? What if he's laying in a ditch somewhere, like with both his legs broken, calling your name? You will have to find another man, you know. You're no spring chicken.
Lives are shattered. The nation is in chaos. Death and destruction sweeps the country.
Now, what about The Blob?
You know, I have seen that, but it's been a minute. I was probably, but I know I saw
think
it.
I remember my parents actually letting us watch The Blob, and I was maybe 8.
Yeah, it was one of those where I used to go over to my aunt's house and she had all the old movies and I would check them out like a library and bring them home.
Every one of you watching this screen, look out. Because soon, very soon, the most horrifying monster menace ever conceived will be oozing into this theater.
All right, so there's one on here. It says, please don't Google this.
Ew, don't then.
The
Do
Final
not.
Girls.
Ew.
I don't know. It just says don't Google it. So that's a double dog dare for anyone listening.
Yeah. And if you Google it, don't send us any pictures. Thanks.
No, thanks. So I think those are super fun, both the campy and the horror movie spoofs. But we can't wrap up this episode without mentioning probably the most prolific horror book writer, horror story writer, and horror movie creator, the one and the only Stephen King.
Absolutely. I was shocked as I was compiling different lists and looking at movies and reading lists at how many of the iconic and classic horror films he had his hand in.
So many. It. We haven't even talked about It.
Yeah, It, which is disturbing, and I will not watch that.
Yeah, I think It single-handedly killed the circus because who wants to go see a clown if it's just going to come kill you from a sewer? Great.
I do have a couple stories about It. The ending is, it's stupid. Sorry, Stephen King, but I could have bought all the way into this thing if it hadn't been for the fact that, spoiler alert, everyone's had a chance to watch this movie, that it's a giant spider at the end. It's a spider.
I don't even think I remember that, but I think I remember it.
So I remember when they went down there and it was a spider, and I thought to myself, why couldn't this been a homicidal maniac? Anyway, apparently I would have thought that was cooler. Yeah, It is very iconic, very disturbing, very good. Lots of people like it.
So there are a couple others. Ones that Pet Sematary. We haven't mentioned it, but I'm familiar with it.
Mm-hmm.
Have you seen it?
Yes.
Oh, I think that was another one that would come on in the middle of the afternoon on Fox.
I would say maybe Children of the Corn I saw with you.
We did watch that the second year of Halloween week.
Yeah.
Halloween Scary Movie Week.
I've never seen The Shining, though.
You haven't? Mm-mm. It's a great one. It's really weird, though.
I don't suppose they told you anything in Denver about the tragedy we had up here during the winter of 1970? I hired a man named Charles Grady as the winter caretaker. From what I've been told, I mean, he seemed like a completely normal individual. But at some point during the winter, he must have suffered some kind of a complete mental breakdown. He ran amok and killed his family with an axe.
Well, you can rest assured, Mr. Ullman, that's not going to happen with me.
That's right.
I mean, I'm not sure I think it's spooky or scary. It's just bizarre.
Okay.
I mean, like a lot of Stephen King films.
Then on here's also Christine. I want to share this. Christine is about a classic car that gets obsessed with its owner and then kills everyone around its owner because it's so obsessed with it.
Again, Stephen King is just strange. Cujo, is that about a dog?
It is. And I did list it here, even though it's not as well known, because Zach read the book as a child and became terrified of his own dog.
Oh my God. Poor
Who did
Zach.
end up biting someone and got put down. Yeah, so his movies are always, he has so many movies though that are not horror films that are also really great, that I always get shocked about. But yeah, I've seen a lot of them. He's very, like you said, prolific.
Yes. And I think he actually has a podcast coming out.
Oh, he wants to compete with us? Oh, okay.
No, it's like a serial podcast, a story in podcast form.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
Well, I think I have a lot of movies to watch this October. I'm going to take it really slow and I'm going to watch The Great Pumpkin with the kids.
Sounds perfect to me.
All right, friends. Well, that's all we've got for you today. But if you like this episode, please don't hesitate to leave us a 5-star rating and write a review and share it with 2 friends.
Honestly, that's the only way we'll ever grow.
This episode's underscore is provided by Alexander Nakarada at Incompetech.com and Sasha Ende at Incompetech.com. Sound effects by Zapsplat.com.